The dragon under siege, foreign encroachment in China. China, a land of ancient history and rich culture, entered the 20th century under the weight of foreign influence. For decades, European powers and Japan had chipped away at China's sovereignty. They carved out spheres of influence, giving them control over trade and resources. The Qing Dynasty seemed powerless to stop them. The once mighty dragon appeared weak and vulnerable. This humiliation fueled resentment among the Chinese people. They saw their country being divided and exploited. Foreign goods flooded Chinese markets. Opium addiction, a problem introduced by the British, ravaged communities. Christian missionaries, while often well-intentioned, were seen as agents of Western cultural imperialism. They challenged deeply held Confucian values. The stage was set for a dramatic confrontation. The Chinese people were desperate for change. They were ready to fight back against foreign domination. The Chinese people felt a growing sense of nationalism. They yearned for a return to their former glory. This sentiment was especially strong in the rural areas. There, the impact of foreign influence was felt most keenly. It was in this environment of anger and frustration that a new force emerged, the Society of Righteous and Harmonious Fists, better known as the Boxers. They would become the focal point of China's struggle against foreign powers in a conflict that would shake the world. Birth of the Fists, origins of the Boxer Rebellion. The Society of Righteous and Harmonious Fists, or the Boxers, emerged from northern China. This region was hard hit by poverty and natural disasters. The people felt abandoned by the Qing government. The Boxers offered a mix of spiritual and martial practices. They promised supernatural powers. They claimed these powers made them impervious to bullets. Initially, the Boxers directed their anger towards the Qing government. However, their focus soon shifted to foreigners and Chinese Christians. This change in focus had far-reaching consequences. A righteous stormed the Boxers' beliefs and practices. At the heart of the Boxer movement lay a blend of spiritual beliefs and nationalist fervor. The Boxers believed in the power of traditional Chinese spirits and deities. They practiced rituals and martial arts, believing these gave them supernatural abilities. Their most famous claim was the ability to withstand bullets. This belief instilled courage and filled their enemies with fear. The Boxers saw themselves as patriots fighting for China's liberation. They also targeted Chinese Christians, viewing them as traitors. This led to violence and persecution within Chinese society. They promised to expel the foreigners and restore China to its former glory. The dragon awakens uprising and early victories. Emboldened by their growing numbers and spiritual conviction, the Boxers went on the offensive. They attacked Christian missions, churches, and foreign businesses. Their initial targets were symbols of foreign influence. They were determined to drive the foreign devils out of China. The Qing government was initially ambivalent towards the Boxers. On the one hand, they saw the Boxers as a threat to their authority. On the other hand, they recognized the Boxers' potential as a tool against foreign powers. This indecision proved fatal. It allowed the Boxers to operate with relative impunity in the early days of the uprising. The Boxers scored early victories. They overwhelmed poorly defended missions in foreign settlements. These victories, fueled by religious fervor and a thirst for vengeance, shocked the foreign powers. They had underestimated the Boxers' strength and the depth of anti-foreign sentiment in China. The Boxers had become a force to be reckoned with. The world watched with bated breath as the dragon awakened from its slumber. The walls close in, the siege of the legations. As the Boxer Rebellion raged, foreign diplomats and civilians in Beijing found themselves trapped. They sought refuge in the legation quarter. This was a small, fortified area in the heart of the city. They hoped to withstand the Boxers' assault until help arrived from their governments. The siege of the legations became a defining moment of the Boxer Rebellion. For 55 days, a small contingent of foreign soldiers and civilians held out against overwhelming odds. They faced constant attacks, dwindling supplies, and the ever-present threat of death. Inside the legation quarter, a diverse group of people from different nations and backgrounds came together. They shared a common goal of survival. The siege captivated the world's attention. Newspapers published daily accounts of the fighting. People anxiously awaited news of the besieged foreigners' fate. The siege of the legations became a symbol of the Boxer Rebellion itself, a desperate struggle for survival against the forces of chaos and xenophobia. The world at war, the Eight-Nation Alliance. The Boxer Rebellion triggered an unprecedented international response. 8 nations, Austria-Hungary, Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Russia, and the United States formed an alliance. They were determined to crush the rebellion and protect their interests in China. The 8-nation alliance assembled a formidable military force. They marched on Beijing, crushing all resistance in their path. The alliance represented a diverse group of nations. They were often at odds with each other. However, they were united in their determination to maintain their grip on China. The Boxer Rebellion had inadvertently brought together the world's great powers in a common cause. The arrival of the 8-nation alliance marked a turning point in the Boxer Rebellion. The Boxers, outmatched and outgunned, were no match for the modern weaponry and military tactics of the foreign armies. The rebellion was brutally suppressed. The foreign powers imposed harsh punishments on China for daring to challenge their authority. The Dragon's Fury Boxer resistance and atrocities. Despite facing a technologically superior enemy, the Boxers fought with ferocious determination. Inspired by their beliefs, they believed they were invincible to foreign weapons. Their courage, while admirable, was no match for the might of modern weaponry. The Boxers, fueled by a potent mix of nationalism and religious fervor, committed terrible atrocities. They targeted foreigners and Chinese Christians. They saw them as enemies of the Chinese people. These acts of violence shocked the world. They further strengthened the resolve of the foreign powers to crush the rebellion. The Boxers' resistance was doomed to fail. However, their struggle became a symbol of Chinese defiance against foreign imperialism. Their willingness to fight and die for their beliefs resonated with many Chinese people. It sowed the seeds of nationalism and anti-imperialism that would continue to grow in the years to come. The price of defiance, defeat, and the Boxer Protocol. The Boxer Rebellion was brutally suppressed. The 8-nation alliance imposed harsh terms on the defeated Qing Dynasty. These terms were outlined in the Boxer Protocol of 1901. This document became a symbol of China's humiliation. The Boxer Protocol forced China to pay a massive indemnity to the foreign powers. It also granted foreign nations the right to station troops on Chinese soil. This further eroded Chinese sovereignty. The Qing Dynasty, already weakened, was deeply discredited. The Boxer Protocol underlined the Qing's inability to protect China from foreign aggression. The signing of the Boxer Protocol marked a dark chapter in Chinese history. It was a humiliating defeat. It left a deep scar on the Chinese psyche. However, it also served as a harsh lesson. It showed the need for a strong and unified China capable of defending its own interests. The seeds of revolution had been sown. Scars on a nation, the aftermath of rebellion. The Boxer Rebellion left a trail of devastation. Countless lives were lost. Villages were destroyed. The Chinese economy was in ruins. The Qing Dynasty, already on the brink of collapse, was further weakened. Beyond the physical destruction, the rebellion had a profound psychological impact on the Chinese people. The ease with which the foreign powers had crushed the rebellion was a source of national shame. The Boxer Protocol, with its humiliating terms, served as a constant reminder of China's weakness. However, amidst the ashes of defeat, a new spirit of nationalism began to emerge. The Chinese people, humiliated by their country's weakness, yearned for a strong and independent China. The Boxer Rebellion, despite its tragic consequences, had inadvertently planted the seeds of revolution and change. Seeds of revolution, the Boxer Rebellion and Chinese nationalism. The Boxer Rebellion, though a failure in the immediate sense, had a profound impact on the development of Chinese nationalism. It exposed the weakness of the Qing Dynasty and the vulnerability of China to foreign imperialism. It also ignited a spark of defiance in the Chinese people. The brutal suppression of the rebellion and the humiliating terms of the Boxer Protocol served as a wake-up call for many Chinese intellectuals and reformers. They realized that China needed to modernize and strengthen itself. They needed to resist foreign domination. The Boxer Rebellion, while driven by traditional beliefs and fueled by anti-foreign sentiment, inadvertently paved the way for a new era in Chinese history. The legacy of the Boxer Rebellion is complex and multifaceted. It was a time of violence, chaos, and national humiliation. However, it also marked a turning point in Chinese history. It was a catalyst for change, contributing to the rise of Chinese nationalism and the eventual overthrow of the Qing Dynasty. The Boxers themselves, though ultimately defeated, became symbolic figures of resistance against foreign imperialism. A legacy of resistance. Remembering the Boxers. The Boxer Rebellion remains a controversial topic in China. The official interpretation has evolved over the decades. However, the rebellion continues to hold a powerful place in the Chinese historical imagination. It serves as a reminder of the dangers of foreign imperialism and the importance of national unity. The Boxers, despite their flaws and the atrocities committed in their name, are often remembered as folk heroes. They are seen as ordinary people who dared to stand up to foreign powers. Their struggle, though ultimately unsuccessful, continues to inspire feelings of patriotism and resistance. The Boxer Rebellion is a stark reminder of the complex relationship between China and the West. It is a story of conflict, resistance, and the enduring human desire for freedom and self-determination. The legacy of the Boxer Rebellion continues to shape China's worldview. It informs its place in the world today. It is a story that continues to resonate more than a century later.